Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Gauntlet is coming out here just shortly, and Blizzard just put out a video kind of breaking down, showing Gauntlet and the gameplay, and kind of answering some of the common questions, etc. So let's get into it, take a look at it, and we will be live as of posting this video. If you want to watch it, you can see me live. It's in the description down below. Let's go into the video. Okay, Diablo 4, what you need to know about the Gauntlet. Blizzard just released a video all about the Gauntlet, so let's see what it has to offer.
Sharpen your blades, because Diablo 4 is getting a new competitive game mode called the Gauntlet.
It's here, baby.
Bloodshed, and I'm here with Marcus Kretz. How you doing, friend?
Hey, Bloodshed. Doing great. I'm excited to talk about the Gauntlet. I assume you're pretty pumped?
As long as I beat everyone in the office, then I think I'll be happy. We also have a very special guest for Q&A today, Kaylee Calder, who's a lead game producer. Welcome, Kaylee.
Hey, it's really great to be here with you guys, and I'm really excited to talk about the Gauntlet.
Kind of hope they get into the details of how the scoring works. We did see a little bit of information on this previous during the Campfire live stream, so I'm kind of hoping we get more into that, as well as the reward side of things. I know they mentioned there was supposed to be 925 gear and unique, so...
Yeah, I was telling Marcus, I think it's cool that we have a developer deliver this information publicly. So shout out to Kaylee and all the developers, all the guests we've had come on. The Gauntlet is the first player versus environment competitive game mode coming to Diablo 4. It's part of a larger framework called Trials that holds all this content together. Bonus points if you noticed the in-game tab already. The way it works is every seasonal week it's active. Players in World Tier 4 can compete in a static, non-linear dungeon. That basically means it's designed for you to take whatever pathway you see fit.
AKA, everyone is using the same dungeon, and it's a weekly thing.
And see who can earn the highest score possible. You earn points by killing monsters, killing bosses, opening chests, all within the 8-minute time limit. To promote as much fairness as possible, everything will be the same for everyone, from the map layout, the shrine placement, boss locations, monster affixes, all identical.
Except you're going to bring in your same build, obviously, that you decide for yourself outside of the actual challenge. Everything else inside of it, once you get into it, will remain the same across the board, but you will be bringing your own gear, etc. into it.
Take your character into battle, solo or with friends, tackle and master the Gauntlet with 16 different ladders, separated by class.
Okay, so it looks like they have Blooded, Steadfast, Iron-Willed, and Worthy as the ranks down there.
Size, platform, and of course, hardcore and normal modes. Marcus is now going to take you through the overall design of the Gauntlet.
Thanks, Ruben. So the Gauntlet is designed for mastery. Every week is like a new puzzle for you to figure out. You or your group can develop strategies specific to your build or playstyle. Since the dungeon is non-linear, you will need to decide the best route to take. You're also going to have to figure out the best time to loot chests or to pop pillars. Speaking of pillars, we are adding 2 unique versions to the Gauntlet. The first one we're adding is called the Pillar of Glory. This pillar gives you a score multiplier for the duration of the effect.
That's kind of cool.
It's best used when there's lots of monster density to gain the highest score possible, since monster kills grant points. I can definitely see players kiting enemies to these locations to maximize the effect, or pairing it with other pillars where possible.
Yeah, you grab a whole bunch of minions, including the bosses, because apparently you can drag those. You take them to the pillar, you get the multiplier, then you kill them all, yep.
Secondly, we're adding a Pillar of Proving, which respawns all enemies in the area. This one is very fun, and hey, who doesn't love more monsters to kill? These kinds of tools in the Gauntlet allow for some creative ways to score points, which could be different from what other players are doing, helping to set yourself apart from the competition. And if that wasn't enough for you, in the Gauntlet, bosses spawn shrines when you die.
Oh, the barb.
We're now entering a Shrineception. You're going to need to bring a barb on your squad. If you get too deep in the Gauntlet, you might need a kick. All these additions really incentivize us to think strategically when approaching each weekly Gauntlet map. Bloodshed is now going to walk you through how the leaderboards work. Take it away.
Okay, here we go.
Once you complete your first run of the Gauntlet, you'll be placed in a named rank. We're calling them seals. As you attain higher scores, you will gain better seals. Each will have predetermined score thresholds, so you could actually technically skip right to the final seal if you're a beast. The seals are Blooded, Steadfast, Iron-Willed, and Worthy.
Look
The
kinda
top
cool.
1,000 players will be displayed on the leaderboard, and each Tuesday the leaderboard will reset, and depending on your named rank, you will earn an emblem and some loot caches. The gear level you receive scales depending on your seal rank, so worthy players should be getting 925 level items.
So if you get Worthy, you get 925 items, basically. Okay, got it. Now, I wonder if hopefully there's a chance of Ubers. I don't know if they mentioned that or not, maybe. Probably not.
These ranks will serve as a bearing for how well you're doing. Remember, the leaderboard only houses the top 1,000 players for that particular ladder. So climbing through the seals is a nice way to indicate where you are in your journey. In addition, the top 10 players each week for every ladder are going to be immortalized forever in the Hall of the Ancients.
That's cool.
You'll be able to go back years later and
That'd be
show
cool.
your children just how much of a badass you were. All right, Marcus, what questions do we have for Kaylee?
So for Q&A, we try to think of questions the community might have, or sometimes we just want to see how developers approach certain mechanics.
Are the Uber uniques have a chance of dropping? How common will uniques be from it? These are questions I'm assuming people are going to say. How different will the dungeons be? Is the layout going to change, or only the monsters in them, etc.?
So Kaylee, shrines only spawn when a boss is killed, right? When you're exploring the Gauntlet, you're only going to come across pillars. So for the shrines that spawn when a boss is killed, do those change at all?
So when you're killing one of the bosses in the Gauntlet, they are always going to drop the same shrine every single time. So you can kind of rely on that every time you run through the Gauntlet. And that shrine is going to be one of the ones you could run into in the world. So you're going to have some variety there too.
I have a question. When people are placed on the leaderboard, can we see what build they're running at the time of completion?
So you will get a shortcut to the player's profile, which will show you the build they currently have, but we do not have a snapshot of their winning.
Okay, this was the most common question of basically, can we see what they use to clear it? And you're only going to see what their answer is. You're only going to see what they are actively wearing at the moment. So if they clear it and then they change the build, you're not going to see what they use at the time. So this is sort of like D3's leaderboard a bit, where you can... I actually like having a leaderboard where you can go and kind of pick through people's builds, look at their stuff in game. I think that's pretty cool. So
build that they had at the time. But we are going to be looking at ways to further improve the Gauntlet and trials in the future. So if the mode proves really popular, it's definitely something we consider.
Nice. So Kaylee, do you have any tips and tricks for new players trying out the Gauntlet? I know you unlock it once you hit World Tier 4, but is it really something only level 100 players should be attempting?
So yeah, if you're below level 100, you are certainly welcome to give it a go, take a stab of it, throw down the proverbial gauntlet, as they say.
But the mobs are level 124, if I remember. In fact, you can see up here level 124. So it's scaled to like a tier 79 redungeon, if I remember correctly.
It's definitely going to be more of a challenge. It is definitely built with mastery in mind for people who are comfortable in that level 100 space. For newer players, you are going to want to have a build that you both enjoy playing and you have a good understanding of. And you should have plenty of time to do that as you're leveling up. And then it's all about bringing that curiosity, figuring out the puzzle that each gauntlet kind of provides in which path you're going to take, how you're going to kill as many monsters as you can to maximize those points, open chests at the right time, all that kind of thing. I personally think it's going to be really fun to tackle this as a newer player with friends in a party. So you can help each other with your builds and figure out the best route together that's going to really help you hit those seals. And you never know, maybe you'll surprise yourself.
I love it. To my knowledge, we can use consumables inside the Gauntlet, but can I just swap my skills around, swap my gear around when I'm inside?
No, you're not going to be able to swap your gear or skills once you go in, so you're going to want to make sure you're fully prepared before you kind of enter. You can use consumables so you can kind of maximize your build on the fly as you're playing through. And again, this is one of those things that we'll look at making improvements to or changes to as the Gauntlet is live and everybody's enjoying it.
I actually like that you can use consumables, but you can't swap your gear around all the time. You make your build, you go in with the build and see how the build performs. It makes it less annoying for those types of builds where you constantly have to switch gear and min-max a million different things outside of just doing the actual fight itself.
I'm definitely ready for the Gauntlet, so big shout out to Kaylee for joining us and providing more perspective. Well, that seals it for today. See y'all in Sanctuary.
Okay, so the Gauntlet is coming, and as far as I'm aware, this is coming on Tuesday. More than likely, this is sort of the thing like they did with AOZ, which is this is probably a testing to see if it's going to be a more permanent feature. I would assume if the Gauntlet's well received that it would be something that would come back in other seasons. Since it is just a leaderboard and they change up the dungeon once a week, I don't see why this couldn't be a more permanent feature. It probably will give us a base in which they can add rewards into it going into the future. During the campfire chat, they did mention that they saw the feedback that some of the better cosmetics that are being sold in the shop that people wished were actually locked behind things like the Gauntlet, for instance, are actually rewards for actually playing in the game itself as opposed to just purchasing them. This is something I made a video about myself. And so we'll see if that ends up coming to the game in the future. But as it stands, that's the snapshot of the Gauntlet. It will be out on Tuesday, and I'll probably take a peek at it when it comes out. I'm curious to see what your guys' comments are on the Gauntlet. Is this something you're going to play? My take on it was, this is something that if people are still playing D4, they'll probably enjoy it. I didn't think it looked that bad. There's a lot of negativity around the Gauntlet. I've been negative before. I don't think the Gauntlet looks that bad. I think it looks sort of fun. I don't think it looks like a huge game-changing thing. It's not like Diablo saved and all that, like we're hoping for that optimization, but it's not bad. I think it looks all right. But I'm curious to see if I'm way off on this one, if this is something you guys think is a giant L or not. I thought it looked kind of fun, and I'll probably poke around with it for a day or something like that and then go back to playing other games. That's about it. Love you all. See you on the next video, and I will be live today if you're interested in joining that.